The Galactic Library's archive section gleamed with the soft blue glow of data crystals, each one containing millennia of carefully preserved information. Archivist Zix 427 drifted between the towering shelves on their gravity platform, four appendages simultaneously organizing and cataloging the day's assignments. It was tedious work, but Zix took pride in maintaining the galaxy's most comprehensive collection of military records. A discrepancy in the combat statistics from the Frontier Wars caught their attention. The casualty reports from Section 47 Beta showed weapon damage inconsistent with any known combat system. Zix's outer membrane rippled with curiosity as they cross-referenced the data against the standard Galactic military database. Computer, display visual records from Incident 47 Beta 329, Zix commanded, their translation module, converting their biochemical signals into standard galactic common. The air before them shimmered as holographic footage materialized. The scene showed a relatively standard frontier skirmish. A group of pirates had attempted to raid a human mining operation on the outer rim. What wasn't standard was the response. Zix's sensory nodes tingled as they watched a human soldier move through the combat zone. The soldier wasn't alone. A four-legged creature with pointed ears and a streamlined body moved in perfect synchronization with them. The creature was small by combat standards, barely reaching the human's knee, yet it moved with deadly precision. Computer, identify Earth species designation, Zix requested. Species identified. Canis lupus familiaris. Common name. Dog. Belgian Malinois breed. Standard Earth companion animal. Companion animal. Zix had heard of the peculiar human practice of keeping other species as pets, but this was something entirely different. The footage showed the dog moving ahead of the soldier, its nose close to the ground. When it reached an intersection, it stopped, body rigid. The soldier immediately halted, then signaled to their squad. Moments later, the footage showed why. 3 pirates had set up an ambush around the corner, armed with neural disruptors, but they never got the chance to use them. The dog moved with impossible speed, leaping straight for the lead pirate's weapon arm while the soldier laid down covering fire. The coordination was flawless, as if the two shared one mind. Computer accessed military effectiveness ratings for Incident 47 Beta 329. The statistics materialized beside the footage. 0 human casualties. Minimal structural damage. All pirates apprehended. Equipment recovered at 97% operational capacity. The efficiency rating was higher than most mechanized combat units. Zix's curiosity evolved into something deeper as they began accessing related files. Similar incidents appeared across the frontier. Human settlements employing what they called K9 units, with effectiveness ratings that defied standard military logic. But the dogs weren't listed as weapons or even combat units in any official documentation. They were simply categorized as support animals. Computer, expand search parameters. Show all incidents involving human cooperation with Earth species in combat situations. The air filled with hundreds of data points. Dogs were just the beginning. There were records of humans working with marine mammals in underwater operations, birds in aerial reconnaissance, and even insects in infiltration missions. Each case showed the same pattern: extraordinary effectiveness, minimal casualties, and classification as support rather than combat units. Zix's membrane pulsed with excitement as they began copying the relevant files to their personal data core. This wasn't just an interesting anomaly. It was a deliberate pattern hidden in plain sight within the galaxy's most public records. The final footage from Incident 47 Beta 329 showed something that truly captured Zix's attention. After the combat ended, the soldier knelt beside their canine partner. The dog's entire demeanor changed, transforming from a precise combat operative into what appeared to be an excited, affectionate companion. The soldier produced a small object, a toy, according to the database, and the two engaged in play behavior. This wasn't a weapon system or a trained combat unit. This was something the galaxy had never seen before, a genuine partnership between species, adapted for combat, but built on something far more fundamental. Zix needed to know more. Their appendages flew over the control panel as they began formatting an official research request. The galaxy needed to understand what humanity had achieved, and more importantly, what they had kept hidden in plain sight all along. Zix 427's research chamber in the Galactic Library had transformed over the past 3 cycles. Holographic displays covered every surface, showing footage from humanity's first contact with the galactic community. Their 4 appendages moved constantly between displays, building connections that no one had thought to look for before. Computer, display first contact protocol files, Earth delegation, year 2157, 6 commanded, their membrane rippling with anticipation. The main screen flickered to life, showing the historic moment when humanity's representatives first stepped onto the Galactic Council station. What caught Zix's attention wasn't the humans themselves, but the subtle details in their cultural presentation package. Earth's wildlife had been carefully documented and categorized as local fauna. Dogs were listed as companion animals, horses as transportation assistants, falcons as cultural heritage specimens. Every entry was technically correct, yet masterfully understated. Cross-reference with Earth's internal historical records, pre-contact era, Zix instructed. New images appeared alongside the first contact documentation: military dogs in ancient wars, cavalry charges that changed the course of history, messenger pigeons carrying crucial intelligence, dolphins trained to protect naval assets, thousands of years of human civilization intertwined with carefully selected and trained animal partners. Zix's outer membrane darkened with realization. The humans hadn't lied during first contact. They had simply allowed the Galactic Council to make its own assumptions. A classified report from a Regellian cultural observer caught their attention. The humans maintain extensive facilities they call nature preserves and wildlife sanctuaries on every colonized world. While they claim this is for ecological preservation, the resource allocation seems excessive for mere conservation efforts. Zix pulled up satellite imagery of these preserves. The patterns were obvious once you knew what to look for. Training areas disguised as natural clearings, research facilities hidden under the guise of veterinary centers. Every human settlement, from the smallest outpost to their largest space stations, maintained areas for their animal companions. The recording of an early council meeting was particularly telling. A human representative had patiently explained their need to maintain Earth's biodiversity. Our development has been closely tied to our world's ecosystem, the human had said. We feel a responsibility to preserve it. The Council had praised humanity's ecological conscience while completely missing the truth hidden in those careful words. Humans hadn't just developed alongside Earth's creatures, they had spent millennia learning to work with them, understand them, and form partnerships that the galactic community had never imagined possible. Zix accessed records from the human education system. Their schools taught children from an early age about responsible pet ownership and wildlife preservation. But between the lines of these lessons were deeper teachings: how to read animal body language, how to earn trust across species barriers, how to think beyond human perspectives. Computer, display human settlement patterns across colonized space. The data painted a fascinating picture. Every human colony followed the same pattern. First, establish habitat zones for Earth species, then build human structures. They weren't just expanding human territory, they were creating networks of cross-species communities. A message notification pulsed at the edge of Zix's consciousness. The library's central authority had approved their expanded research request. They now had access to sealed military records from the frontier wars. The first file made Zix's neural clusters pulse with excitement. It contained training documentation from something called the Integrated Species Command. The humans had developed standardized protocols for working with different Earth species in various operational capacities. Each practice was built on generations of understanding and mutual trust. The deception was breathtaking in its simplicity. Humanity had walked onto the galactic stage with their greatest strength hidden in plain sight, protected by nothing more than the galaxy's own preconceptions. While other species focused on technological advancement, humanity had perfected the art of biological partnership. Zix began composing a preliminary report but stopped mid-thought. There was more to uncover. The military applications were just the surface. They needed to understand why humans had gone to such lengths to keep these relationships subtle and understated. The answer, they suspected, would change everything. The security footage from the Centauri border incident filled Zix 427's research chamber with ghostly blue light. Their membrane quivered as they watched the events unfold for the 13th time, still finding new details with each viewing. The operation had seemed impossible on paper. A heavily fortified smuggling base, 37 armed guards, and a security system designed by the finest minds in the Andromedan Coalition. Yet a single human and their canine partner had shut it down in less than 2 planetary rotations. Computer, replace sequence mark 47, Zix commanded, focusing on a crucial moment. The footage showed the human handler, Sarah Chen, crouched behind a cargo container. Her German Shepherd, designated Atlas in the files, pressed against her side. Chen's hand rested lightly on Atlas' back, her fingers making tiny movements that the camera barely registered. Enhance hand movements and cross-reference with known human military signals, Zix instructed. The computer's response was unexpected. No match found in military database. Pattern appears unique to handler canine team. Zix's neural clusters pulsed with excitement. They had discovered similar patterns across multiple canine teams. Each handler and dog developed their own subtle language, a private form of communication that no enemy could decode because it was based on thousands of hours of partnership. The footage continued. Atlas moved forward, his body language changing so subtly that Zix had needed specialized behavior analysis software to detect it. The dog's movements conveyed information about guard positions, security system status, and structural weaknesses, all through minute changes in posture that Chen could read like a data stream. Display thermal imaging overlay, Zix commanded. The new layer of data revealed something remarkable. The dog's body temperature and heart rate remained steady despite the high-stress situation. This wasn't just training, it was complete trust in their handler and mission. Atlas moved through the facility's ventilation system, a path that would have been impossible for any humanoid. The dog's enhanced olfactory capabilities detected guard positions through walls, while specialized training allowed him to identify chemical signatures of weapons and explosives. But what truly astounded Zix was how Atlas adapted his strategy based on the situation, displaying problem-solving skills that went far beyond simple conditioning. The operation reached its critical point when Atlas emerged behind the facility's main security center. The dog didn't attack immediately. Instead, he waited for a precise moment when Chen launched a simultaneous breach from the opposite direction. The coordination was perfect, as if handler and dog could read each other's thoughts. Computer accessed post-operation medical scans for both handler and canine. The results appeared, showing elevated levels of oxytocin, what humans called the bonding hormone, in both Chen and Atlas. This wasn't just a military partnership. The neurochemical patterns suggested deep emotional connections, trust, and mutual concern for each other's well-being. Zix found the most compelling footage at the mission's end. Chen and Atlas swept the facility one final time, moving with the same fluid grace as during combat. But the moment they confirmed the area was secure, both their demeanors transformed. Atlas' tail began to wag, his body language shifting from tactical precision to unbridled joy. Chen knelt beside him, wrapping her arms around his neck in what humans called a hug. "Play audio," Zix requested, their membrane rippling with anticipation. That's my good boy. Chen's voice was soft, meant only for Atlas. You did so well. The best partner anyone could ask for. The dog responded with a sound that the computer identified as a happy whine, pressing closer to his handler. Their heart rates synchronized, stress hormones dropped, and their body language mirrored each other in what the medical files called mutual comfort behavior. Zix added new notes to their expanding research file. The galaxy had fundamentally misunderstood these partnerships. They weren't master and servant, or even commander and soldier. They were something unprecedented in galactic military history. True partners, each bringing unique strengths to a relationship built on absolute trust. The implications were staggering. If humans could forge such profound connections with Earth's species, what else had the galactic community missed about their capabilities? Zix's research nodes tingled. They had barely scratched the surface. Zix 427 had reconfigured their research chamber's holographic systems 3 times to properly display the microscopic footage they'd discovered. The images floating before them seemed impossible. Honeybees, each barely a finger's length, carrying out surveillance operations with more precision than the finest stealth drones. Computer, display Operation Hive Mind documentation. Zix commanded, their membrane shifting to a deeper shade of blue with concentration. The footage showed a human scientist, Dr. Maya Patel, working in what appeared to be a standard agricultural research facility. She stood surrounded by what the records identified as modified beehives, each one humming with activity. But these were no ordinary bees. Enhance Segment 7 Alpha, Zix instructed. The image zoomed in on a single bee leaving its hive. Attached to its thorax was a device so small it had initially escaped detection. A microscopic sensor suite that worked in perfect harmony with the insect's natural flight patterns. The bee's normal pollen-gathering behavior provided perfect cover for mapping enemy installations. Access mission results. Operation Hive Mind, Beta Sector. The data streamed across Zix's consciousness. A suspected weapons facility had been completely mapped in 3 days by a single hive. The bees' natural foraging patterns meant no one questioned their presence. Their ability to detect minute chemical traces through their antennae provided detailed information about the facility's contents. Most remarkably, the entire operation appeared to the outside world as nothing more than normal pollination activity. But the bees were just the beginning. Zix found records of what humans called their micro-integration units. Specialized ant colonies could dismantle electronic systems with surgical precision, their natural tunneling behavior concealing their true purpose. Butterflies with naturally modified wing patterns served as early warning systems for chemical weapons, their colors changing in response to trace amounts of toxic substances. Display Formicida operation files, Zix requested, fascinated by the ant operations. The footage showed thousands of tiny black ants moving through a pirate facility's ventilation system. Each ant carried a microscopic piece of conductive material. Over days, they systematically removed key components from the facility's security systems, creating failures that appeared completely natural. By the time anyone realized something was wrong, it was too late. What struck Zix most was the patience involved. These operations took days or weeks to complete, yet the humans never rushed their tiny partners. They worked with the insect's natural rhythms and behaviors, adapting their military objectives to match the creature's natural patterns rather than forcing the insects to change. Computer, access research notes from the Earth Integrated Species Command, Insect Division. The documents revealed something extraordinary. Humans hadn't just trained these insects. They had spent generations studying them, understanding their social structures, and learning to work within their natural behaviors. They hadn't created weapons. They had formed partnerships with species that most of the galaxy wouldn't even notice. A classified report caught Zix's attention. During the Proxima Centauri conflict, an entire fleet had been protected by what appeared to be a random swarm of monarch butterflies. The insects' naturally occurring migration patterns masked their true purpose, detecting cloaked enemy ships through minute gravitational disturbances that affected their sensitive navigation systems. Display casualty statistics for insect integration operations last 50 cycles. The numbers were astounding. 0 insect casualties above natural attrition rates. The humans took extraordinary care to protect their tiny partners, even when it meant extending mission times or complicating operations. Each insect was treated not as a disposable tool, but as a valuable team member. Zix found themselves reviewing the psychological profiles of the human handlers who worked with these insects. Many reported developing emotional connections with their colonies, hives, and swarms. They spoke of their partners with the same respect and affection that others showed to dogs or dolphins. The implications were profound. Humanity hadn't just mastered working with intelligent mammals. They could form meaningful partnerships with creatures whose minds were entirely alien to their own. Each insect species required different approaches, different understandings, and different forms of cooperation. Zix's research nodes tingled with excitement. If humans could achieve this level of cooperation with insects, what other partnerships had they developed beneath the galaxy's notice? The holographic display in Zix 427's research chamber transformed into an underwater scene from the Europan Ocean Campaign. Their membrane rippled with fascination as they watched a human naval team working in perfect synchronization with a pod of bottlenose dolphins. Unlike the mechanical precision of underwater drones, these marine partnerships moved with fluid grace through the alien waters. Computered, display mission parameters for Operation Deep Bond, Zix commanded. The operation details materialized before them. A Centaurian smuggling ring had hidden underwater weapon caches in Europa's vast ocean, believing the extreme depths and thick ice cover would make detection impossible. They hadn't counted on humanity's marine division. The footage showed Lieutenant Sarah Martinez swimming alongside her dolphin partner, Echo. The dolphin's natural echolocation abilities, refined through years of training, could detect the difference between natural ice formations and disguised weapon containers at distances that put the best scanning equipment to shame. Analyze communication patterns between handler and marine partner, Zix instructed. The computer highlighted a series of underwater gestures, clicks, and body movements that formed a sophisticated communication system. Martinez and Echo had developed their own underwater language, combining human hand signals with dolphin vocalizations. More remarkably, Echo showed clear signs of independent decision-making, often investigating suspicious areas without prompting. Access Operation Octopus Prime files. Zix requested, their curiosity piqued by references to another marine partnership. New footage appeared, showing what the records identified as a giant Pacific octopus named Atlas working with handler Dr. James Chen. The octopus moved through a sunken wreck, its natural camouflage abilities making it nearly invisible. Its problem-solving intelligence and flexibility allowed it to reach places inaccessible to both humans and machinery. The mission log told an incredible story. Atlas had discovered a hidden compartment in the wreck that hadn't appeared on any scans. The octopus used its natural curiosity and intelligence to investigate the space, finding crucial intelligence documents that would have otherwise been lost. Display training protocols for marine partnerships. The documents revealed something extraordinary. Human handlers spent months living alongside their marine partners before any operational training began. They learned to understand each species' natural behaviors, social structures, and communication methods. The bonds formed went far beyond simple working relationships. Zix found footage of a recovery operation after a particularly challenging mission. Echo had suffered minor injuries while protecting Martinez from underwater debris. The handler spent 3 days in the medical bay alongside her dolphin partner, monitoring his recovery. The medical scans showed synchronized stress levels between them. They were genuinely concerned for each other's well-being. Computer access files on Operation Sea Lion Shield. This operation showcased yet another remarkable partnership. A team of trained sea lions had protected a crucial underwater installation from sabotage. Their natural diving abilities and acute underwater senses made them perfect sentries, while their playful behavior meant enemy observers dismissed them as local wildlife. What fascinated Zix most was the aftermath of these operations. The Marine partners weren't simply returned to holding facilities. They remained with their human handlers, continuing to train, play, and strengthen their bonds. The humans had created extensive facilities that replicated natural marine environments, ensuring their partners lived enriched, stimulating lives. Display psychological assessment reports for Marine Division handlers. The reports painted a picture of deep emotional connections. Handlers spoke of their Marine partners as family members, celebrating their successes and mourning their losses. The Marine creatures showed similar attachment, displaying obvious joy when reunited with their handlers after separations. A particular note in the training manual caught Zix's attention. Success in marine operations depends not on dominating our partners, but on earning their trust and cooperation. These are not our servants or our tools, they are our colleagues in the depths. Zix's research nodes tingled with a new realization. Humanity hadn't just adapted Earth's creatures for military purposes, they had created true partnerships that honored and respected each species' natural abilities. In the darkness of alien oceans, they had found allies that no other galactic species had even thought to look for. The question that now burned in their neural clusters: what other secrets lay hidden in humanity's special relationship with Earth's creatures? The grand chamber of the Galactic Library hummed with nervous energy as representatives from 17 species gathered for Zix 427's preliminary presentation. Their research had spread through official channels like a quantum cascade, forcing an emergency session of the Scientific Council. Zix's membrane shifted through subtle colors as they activated the central holographic display. Honored representatives, what you are about to see will change our understanding of human civilization and their place in the galaxy. The first images filled the chamber. A human handler and their dog moving through combat scenarios, a swarm of bees conducting precision surveillance, dolphins patrolling alien oceans. Each example drew murmurs from the assembled delegates. We have fundamentally misunderstood humanity's relationship with Earth's creatures, Zix continued. What we dismissed as simple companionship or primitive animal husbandry is actually an unprecedented system of interspecies cooperation. The Regelian ambassador's crystalline form sparkled with agitation. Are you suggesting the humans deliberately concealed these capabilities? Not concealed, Zix responded, their membrane rippling thoughtfully. They simply allowed us to make our own assumptions. While we focused on their technological development, we missed their most remarkable achievement: the ability to form genuine partnerships with other species. New footage played across the chamber. An elephant carefully moving construction materials in a colony development, birds providing early warning of atmospheric anomalies, horses working alongside human settlers on frontier worlds. Each example showed not just trained animals, but true cooperation between species. The Andromedan representative's neural tendrils pulsed with concern. This changes the strategic balance. If humans can deploy Earth's creatures as weapons, with respect, Ambassador, Zix interrupted, their tone firm. That perspective exemplifies our misunderstanding. These are not weapons to be deployed. They are partners engaged in mutual cooperation. Zix displayed the psychological data they had uncovered, observed the neural patterns, the behavioral bonds, the chemical markers of trust and affection. Humans don't dominate these creatures. They work to understand them, forming relationships based on mutual benefit and respect. The chamber fell silent as footage showed a human handler tending to an injured falcon after a reconnaissance mission. The care and concern were obvious, as was the bird's trust in its human partner. Similar scenes played out across multiple species partnerships. But the military applications, the Centaurian delegate began, are a small part of a much larger picture, Zix explained. Their display shifted to show conservation projects, search and rescue operations, and environmental monitoring programs. Humanity's animal partnerships span every aspect of their civilization. They've learned to work with Earth's creatures in ways we never imagined possible. The Arcturian science director's plasma field flickered with interest. How do they maintain control over so many different species? They don't seek control, Zix responded, their membrane glowing with excitement at sharing their discovery. They seek understanding. Each partnership is built on respect for the creature's natural behaviors and intelligence. The humans adapt their methods to work with each species' unique characteristics. The evidence was undeniable. Across human space, every settlement, every operation, every expansion included careful integration with Earth's creatures. What had appeared to be simple preservation of their homeworld's ecosystem was actually the maintenance of a complex network of interspecies cooperation. Our challenge now, Six concluded, is to reevaluate our understanding of human civilization. We've been measuring them by technological advancement alone, missing their true innovation, the ability to bridge the gap between species and form genuine partnerships with other forms of life. The chamber erupted in discussion as the implications became clear. Humanity hadn't just preserved Earth's ecosystem, they had integrated it into their civilization in ways no other species had attempted. Their expansion across the galaxy wasn't just human colonization, it was the careful transplantation of an entire web of interspecies relationships. As the debates continued around them, Zix activated their private research feed. The military applications that had first caught their attention were just the surface. There was something deeper here, something that suggested humanity's animal partnerships served a far more significant purpose. The real question was, what were they preparing for? Zix 427 stood motionless in front of their research display, their membrane nearly transparent with shock. After months of investigation, the final piece had fallen into place, and the truth was more extraordinary than anyone had imagined. Computer, display Project Guardian archives, full access, they commanded, their voice trembling with excitement. The holographic display filled with new data, not military records this time, but medical files, environmental surveys, and planetary restoration projects. The image that dominated the display showed a German shepherd named Max working with a group of human children. The dog wasn't performing military maneuvers. Instead, it was helping children with trauma recover through something called animal-assisted therapy. Cross-reference with global health initiatives across human space, Six instructed. The data streams converged, revealing a pattern that had been hiding beneath the surface all along. For every military K9 unit, there were hundreds of therapy dogs helping humans heal. For each surveillance bee colony, thousands more were part of environmental restoration projects, helping maintain the delicate balance of alien ecosystems where humans settled. Display footage from New Eden Colony establishment, Six requested. The scenes that played out showed the true scope of humanity's vision. Before the first human settlers arrived, they had sent teams of handlers and their animal partners to prepare the way. Dogs helped survey safe zones, birds monitored air quality, and bees began the crucial work of pollinating earth plants in the alien soil. But it went deeper still. Zix found records of dolphins helping autistic children learn to communicate, horses providing physical therapy for the injured, and even cats serving as early warning systems for medical emergencies. The military applications that had first caught their attention were just a small part of a much greater whole. Computer, access Dr. Sarah Chen's personal logs from Project Guardian inception. The human scientist's words filled the room. We didn't develop these partnerships for war. We developed them because we understood something fundamental, that humans thrive best when we're connected to other species. Our animal partners don't just help us fight, they help us live, heal, grow, and understand our place in the universe. Zix's membrane pulsed with realization as they discovered files about remarkable predictions made by animal partners. Elephants that detected earthquakes before any instruments, dogs that sensed medical conditions before they became critical, and birds that identified environmental threats before they became disasters. Display success metrics for interspecies cooperation projects. The statistics were staggering. Colonies with integrated animal partnerships showed significantly higher success rates. Mental health improved, environmental stability increased, and even productivity rose. Humans weren't just working with animals, they were creating balanced ecosystems wherever they went. A classified research paper caught Zick's attention. It detailed how human brain patterns changed when working with animal partners, not just handlers, but anyone who regularly interacted with Earth's creatures. These interactions stimulated parts of the brain associated with empathy, problem-solving, and emotional regulation. Access colony development protocols, all regions. Every human expansion project followed the same pattern. First, establish habitats for Earth's creatures. Then, integrate them into all aspects of colonial life. What had appeared to be simple preservation was actually the foundation of human adaptability. They didn't just bring technology to new worlds. They brought entire ecosystems of partnerships. The medical records were particularly revealing. Animals detecting cancers, preventing seizures, identifying mental health crises. Their natural abilities complemented human medicine in ways no technology could match. The military had simply adapted these existing partnerships for defense when needed. Zick's research nodes tingled as they composed their final report. The galaxy had been asking the wrong questions. The real story wasn't about humans using animals as tools or weapons. It was about humanity's unique ability to form genuine connections with other species, creating partnerships that enhanced life itself. Their membrane shifted to a deep blue of certainty. This wasn't just about survival or military advantage. Humanity had discovered something profound. The key to thriving in the galaxy wasn't technological supremacy, but the ability to form true bonds across species barriers. They hadn't just trained animals, they had learned to communicate with life itself. One standard year after their initial discovery, Zix 427 stood before the Galactic Council chamber, their membrane glowing with quiet confidence. The chamber had been modified to accommodate an unprecedented addition, a human delegation accompanied by several of their animal partners. Honored council members, Zix began, today we stand at a turning point in galactic history. What began as an investigation into military records has revealed something far more significant, a way of living that could transform our understanding of life itself. The central holographic display activated, showing a series of worlds across human space. Each planet told the same story. Devastated ecosystems restored to life, struggling colonies transformed into thriving communities, all through the careful integration of Earth's species partnerships. Humanity did not master these relationships for war, Six continued. They developed them because they understood something we had all missed, that the strongest civilizations are built not on dominion over other species, but on cooperation with them. A German shepherd named Atlas lay calmly at his handler's feet, while a falcon named Swift perched nearby. Their presence in the council chamber would have been unthinkable a year ago. Now they served as living proof of what Zix had discovered. We have already seen the first successes, Zix announced, displaying footage from the Rigelian Restoration Project. Human handlers and their animal partners worked alongside alien species, helping restore ecosystems damaged by centuries of industrialization. Bees pollinated new plants, dogs detected environmental hazards, and dolphins monitored ocean health. The Andromedan representatives' neural tendrils pulsed with interest. But how can we be certain these partnerships will work beyond Earth species? Zix's membrane rippled with anticipation. This was the moment they had been waiting for. Display Project Bridge results, they commanded. The chamber filled with images of the first successful attempts to adapt human partnership methods to alien wildlife. A handler working with a Centaurian crystal former, understanding its patterns of growth. Another team learning to communicate with Rigelian floating spores, using them to detect atmospheric changes. Humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy isn't the partnerships themselves, Zix explained, but the method of forming them. They have shown us that any species, when approached with patience, respect, and genuine desire to understand, can become a partner in building a better future. The human ambassador, Dr. Elena Rodriguez, stepped forward with her therapy dog, Luna, at her side. "We didn't set out to create weapons or tools," she added. "We discovered, through thousands of years of trial and error, that we are at our best when we work in harmony with other species. Every partnership is built on mutual trust, respect, and understanding." Zix displayed the latest statistics from across human space. Colonies incorporating animal partnerships showed unprecedented success rates. Environmental restoration projects moved faster than ever before. Even space exploration had been transformed, with Earth's creatures helping humanity adapt to new worlds in ways pure technology never could. But the most remarkable discovery, Zix continued, is how these partnerships change us. Human brain scans show increased capacity for empathy, problem-solving, and adaptation when working with other species. Similar changes have been observed in every species that adopts these methods. The council chamber hummed with discussion as the implications became clear. This wasn't just about humans and their animal partners. It was about a fundamentally new way of approaching life in the galaxy. "We stand at a crossroads," Zix concluded. "We can continue to view the galaxy through the lens of competition and dominance, or we can learn from humanity's example. They have shown us that true strength lies not in standing apart from nature, but in forming bonds with it." As if to emphasize the point, Luna rose and gently placed her head on Dr. Rodriguez's lap. The simple gesture carried more weight than any speech could convey, a demonstration of trust, affection, and partnership that transcended species barriers. In that moment, watching the reactions of the council members, Zix knew their discovery would change the galaxy forever. Humanity had not just revealed a new way of fighting or working, they had shown a new way of living, one that promised to transform every world it touched. The age of partnership had begun.